Hi, I'm Curious Vedanth, and welcome to season 2 of my podcast. Today, my guest is Ishaan Bharadwaj, a 7th grader and an eco ambassador from Millburn, New Jersey. Hi, Ishaan. Welcome to my show.
Hi Vedant, I'm happy to be here.
Yes, even I'm happy to have you here. Okay, so Ishaan, I'm curious to know, what does an eco ambassador like you do?
So, as an eco ambassador, I want to raise awareness about the environmental problems going on currently by doing talks and starting initiatives in my community.
Nice. What are the initiatives you have started?
Yeah, so first I started my initiative, School Tools to Go. This was an initiative to collect gently used school supplies from my community and donate them to the needy. Next, I attended Global Climate Action Day, an event initiated by Greta Thunberg, an environmental activist, and I had my first talk here. I talked about my initiative. After that, I decided to host a holiday challenge for our annual Thanksgiving party. This included not wasting food, not using plastic cutlery. Then I volunteered to speak for the ordinance of banning all single-use plastics in my town. This ordinance went into effect a few months ago in June. My main research was my research on microplastics. Just to give you a general idea, I identified and quantified microplastics in New Jersey tap water. I even built my own apparatus, a cheap filtration system made out of reused material. After I finished that research, I spoke at Columbia University about my microplastics findings to college students and professors. Finally, because of the pandemic this summer, I started a project to make reusable masks instead of people buying disposable masks. I raised $500 and I donated all of this money to the Millburn Short Hills Volunteer First Aid Squad. This is my community first aid squad.
Wow, that must be great. You've done a lot of talks and initiatives. I learned that you spoke at the municipality town hall to support the ban on single-use plastics. That must have been a pretty cool experience. Can you tell me more about it?
Sure. So as I said earlier, this ordinance was to ban single-use plastic in Millburn. Single-use plastic includes single-use like bags, styrofoam cups, and plastic straws. I spoke about the pros of this ordinance and how it will affect our town drastically. It might even encourage other towns to ban some plastic as well.
I've seen a lot of people use single-use masks, like disposable masks. Are those bad for the environment?
Yeah, disposable masks can be bad for the environment because I've seen in Millburn a lot of people litter the disposable masks on the ground. So yeah, it can be really bad for the environment.
What can you use other than disposable masks?
So you can use reusable masks, and you can also you can make them by yourself, or you can buy N95 masks at the store, or you can just buy some sort of reusable mask that you don't have to throw out and that's disposable. So you don't waste, and you're saving the environment.
Here in Singapore, when people wear disposable masks and they need to throw it away, they need to cut the strings off.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea because once you cut the strings off, I think I've seen this in a WhatsApp message actually. It saves like oceanic animals from getting tangled in it.
What are microplastics and why are they bad?
So microplastics are broken down pieces of macroplastics. Macroplastics are big pieces of plastic. So for example, like a single-use water bottle or a plastic spoon. When these go in the ocean, things like UV rays, wind, and wave action cause these macroplastics to like break down into millions of smaller pieces, less than 5 millimeters. Plastics can also be made, like actually man-made, smaller than 5 millimeters, such as microbeads, which can be found in Purell, or microfibers, which can be found in clothing. Microplastics are so bad because animals in the ocean can mistake microplastics for food, which can cause starvation or other types of physical harm to the animals. This is one of the major reasons why microplastics are so bad.
That sounds really bad. What can we do to stop microplastic pollution?
We can prevent microplastics by first reducing the amount of plastic wastage in our own household. This includes reducing the amount of plastic cutlery we use, how many plastic plates we use, etc. After we do that, we have to encourage our family and friends to do the same.
So I bought these steel spoons and I take it to all of restaurants so that I don't have to use their plastic spoons.
Good job, because you're not using plastic spoons, which can be wasteful, and you're using metal spoons, which can be helpful because you're not wasting unnecessary plastic items.
In our house, we don't use plastic spoons.
That's a good idea and a good household.
Can you tell me more about the microplastic filter that you invented? How was it to present about that at Columbia University?
Well, good question. So I built an apparatus using all homemade materials, including like half of a glass bottle, a lid of a jar, and even a metal straw. I put a piece of filter paper on the top of the apparatus in the glass cup, which would filter out the microplastics from the water. Later, I went to Columbia University with all my filters to quantify the microplastics, but before I needed to have the filters stained so I could identify which objects on the filter paper are plastics and which ones were not. It was a great experience to speak at Columbia, but I was a bit nervous before I spoke because I never spoke in front of college students and professors.
What made you choose to be an eco-ambassador?
So what really triggered me was when a college student spoke, as I was mentioning earlier, like the Millburn Climate Action Day in 2019. So a college student spoke about how microfibers from clothing come out of the washing machine. So that really got me thinking about this issue, which eventually led to becoming an eco-ambassador.
Is there a particular type of clothing that we can use that does not involve microfiber usage?
Yeah, so you should use cotton because that doesn't have microfibers at all. Other types of clothing might because it's not completely cotton.
Most of the time I use cotton, but I have some non-cotton clothings. I'll try to get more cotton clothings.
Yeah, that's a good job. 100% cotton is best recommended.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a doctor when I grow up because I want to help people in need and just try to be helpful in some way.
Nice. So if I ever get a stomach ache or if I don't feel well, I'll come to you.
Yes. Yeah.
What are your hobbies?
Well, my favorite thing to do is to go biking with my 4 friends. We go biking probably every Friday, and it's like really fun to hang out with them. I also like playing badminton with my dad, and finally, I love to travel to different countries all around the world.
Come to Singapore. You will love it here.
Yeah, I love the hot weather and like the palm trees and the beaches.
Do you like coconut palms?
Yeah, I really love any palm trees. Like, I love the tropical weather.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on my show.
It was a pleasure to be on your show. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. Dear listeners, follow my Facebook page, Curious Vedanth, to get updates on my upcoming episodes. To listen at leisure on your phone and get notified about future episodes, subscribe by searching for Curious Vedanth wherever you get your podcasts, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can also listen to my show on curiousvedanth.com. Thank you for listening to Curious Vedanth, and don't forget to rate and leave comments.